And would you believe if I tell you that a prophet has predicted the timeline? Oh, did I say prophet? Let's say a time traveler has predicted the timeline from now to 2032. What is going to happen in John Dramani Mahama's administration and also after John Dramani Mahama. This is the prophets that prophesy that Shatta Wale is going to have a feature with Beyonce, and it happened. This is the same prophets that prophesy that Shatta Wale is going to feature on a show with Vybz Kartel in Jamaica, that Shatta Wale is going to hoist the flag of Ghana. He's going to raise the banner of Ghana very high. Well, let me just bust your bubble small. It is this same prophet that prophesied that in the 2024 election, John Dramani Mahama is going to get 57% of the total vote cast.
I saw 57% at the conclusion of the whole election.
57%.
And yes, it happened. So from now till 2032, what is going to happen? How the governance of His Excellency the President, John Dramani Mahama, is going to end up, where it will peak and where it will start. Things will start getting messy. If you want to get all this information, well, I think you need to stick and stay with us, subscribe to the channel, and also like the video. It's very, very necessary. Help us for the video to also go viral, for other people to also get in touch with the video. This is Dynamic TV Plus, and my name is Nanaya Dynamic.
He's about to go now.
I believe in prophecies, okay? But the problem is that I have issues with the way and manner some people or some men of God go about saying things that at the end of the day do not happen. And so that is the more reason why I chanced on some of these words that this pastor talked about. And this is Prophet Telvin Ejesoa, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's delve deep. Around 2024, many people talked. Many people had their opinions and had their revelations and what they term it to be. But I find it so some way be when I realized that this person that I'm about talking about, talked about these things around December, where the election hadn't even been held. Say, it hadn't happened. But the accuracy of the prophecy has got me have a rethink of this whole, prophetic something. Well, early 2020, let's say in the late 2024, he had an interview, and in that interview, he explained how the whole thing happened, how Adudi is going to leave office. And when he was asked whether Adudi has a role to play in the spiritual realm or in the affairs of the country going forward, like how President Kufuor, former president, has been having some says with regards to some of the decision making and the state decisions, is Akufo-Addo also are we going to see Akufo-Addo being so active in the key decisions of this country? But this is what he said.
Omampeni dada Nanado Dankwa Akufo-Addo ni involvement our future line in the party, how will it be?
His involvement in the party for the coming election, and I say for the whole
MPP
right
party.
NDC that's in power.
Yes, MPP. Amanyuku ni involvement ahead of 2028 election. How will it be?
Ahead of the 2028 election. One thing I want to tell you is that I look through time.
Okay.
It's two things, but I'll say only one thing.
Okay.
That is very easy. It's either what I'm looking at. And when I'm looking through time, I'm looking at real time. What I mean by that is I'm seeing what is going on the TV, on the media. That's why I can tell you the news outlet and the numbers, whoever is saying what in time.
Okay.
So what I'm seeing is that I am not seeing any involvement at all. Either you abandon the party or Any involvement, serve physically like the front line. That's how you see former President Kufuor like say this, say that. Oh, bring this person instead. Not at all.
Not say
you won't see him in the front line.
Yeah, intending can be
No, you don't see him in the front line.
You know, for some time now, people have been talking about the fact that Adudi is not even going to get people to visit him as an ex-president. You understand? And that is the one reason why it was just okay for us to know, say, okay, so people are also saying, say, oh, it will get to a time you'll be missing Adudi. Maybe in the next 2 years, 4 years, you'll be missing Adudi, and people will start, you know, praising Adudi and realizing the good that Adudi did for Ghana. So it was just necessary for us to know, say, so in the timeline, no, where and what does Adudi do? Where does he come in our political landscape? So at this point, it is established that Adudi will get to wherever that he wants to get to and rest. So we don't have Adudi on the timeline as we are talking. So yes, let's get back to business. Now we are talking about the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, and his future. So he was asked, how is the nation going to go at the moments that people have so much trust in the president? What does the future hold?
From that governance angle, no, I told you, say, best start in a very, very strange manner. I think I said that a long time ago. And the situation is that a start here, the currency, the economy will begin to go downside. Because as economy, for being sassy, they will remove their hands from it. Once their hands are going off it, in 3 months, you begin to notice. 3 months from now, that is April. You begin to notice the country where we are heading towards is very dangerous. And as that angle begin to drift down, that's why I told you people, there's only one thing that can happen in this atmosphere with President John Mahama as president.
Yeah.
The country will end up being one of its best shape since the time of Professor Tamils. It's going to be in its best shape. That's what is going to happen. But before that, there is going to be a dive. The dive is what is going to be the problem. And the dive is coming in April.
So, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, the election hadn't been held. So, in this case, he was explaining things per the astral projections, per the fourth realm or whatever realm that he saw these things, is how he's interpreting them and saying them. He moved on to talk about what was going to happen in December. So in this case, we are talking about December 2025. And he made mention of reshuffle, saying that Mahama'S presidency or Mahama'S administration will see some early reshuffling. And those reshuffle will be as a result of the demise of two people. One will be a CEO and one will be an MP. And with their demise, will come with, a reshuffle, meaning that they will need to be replaced. So that will be an early reshuffle that the JDM administration will first have to encounter.
But in December, the reason why there's a lot of shuffling is because you said one thing, you were asking one question. It's because there were certain funerals. Due to that, they had to put some people somewhere and remove some people from somewhere because some places were vacant.
Asemaba.
So that one is a different story on its own. But then we come back to the economy.
Funeral no me. So how many funerals?
2 of them.
Sitting ministers and I say
CEO minister. But in that timeline, those things can be adjusted in time. That one we can bend the time for its sake. Yes. But then the shuffle will come because of one of them. I can't get a hold of it in the dimensions. But there's one important one we can bend and create something else by the grace of God. But mainly there will be shuffling as a result of that. Once that shuffle will kick in, yes.
Yeah, so it is what it is. Now, these are prophetic. These are the things that, according to him, he has seen in the timeline. And if you believe in time traveling, if you believe in people who deal with time, you should know that some of these things, yes, they do exist and they are real. If somebody tells you that, look, I've seen these things ahead of you and it is in the timeline, Unia, if you have something to do about it. If you have something to do to avert it, do it to avert it. So he moves further to talk about one thing that is so delicate, but we also have to talk about it. He said, in the next 2 years of Mahama'S administration, Mahama will be a president of the Republic of Ghana without a vice president. And that is where he was asked what is going to happen to the vice president. Looking at how he answered with a tribute that he saw and he heard a tribute being read. And one thing is that the person who was reading the tribute couldn't even finish reading it. Then the person left the stage.
From now, as I speak to you right now, 2 years specifically from now, I'm not drunk tea this morning. 2 years specifically from now, he will be able to run for the presidency. But before he will run for 2028, 2027, he will have no vice president.
Hey, 2028 now, or running nowhere near. Or be maintaining a vice president.
He will have none. There is no vice president.
So for me, until the said 2028, from CCR copying 2028, we are running with Prof. J. Nana.
Yes, let me give you a speech. There's a nice speech. I'm hearing it in time.
Okay.
You know, time when you move through time, you're looking at what is happening in real life. Unless you try to tamper with it. I'm not tampering with anything now. Now, unless I have to, but I don't have to, so I'm not. Now, in time, I am looking at a speech being given with heartfelt, how do you call it? Heartfelt,
condolence.
not condolence. It's the way he said it. It's a way with strong heart or deep heart. Something I want to express my condolence to the family of this and and in the situation. But unfortunately, I couldn't finish the speech. Left the stage. Yes.
So my question is, so if everything he's saying here is true, does it mean that Ghana, in a way, some way, somehow, is going to lose Her Excellency, the Vice President, Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman? Does the future have something like that? Because it looks as if the woman has been targeted. But looking at the time that this man, this prophet, was relaying these prophetics or these prophecies, nothing of that sort was happening. This was the time that Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman had been picked by, the NDC to be the running mate of John Dramani Mahama. And so at this point, nobody was even thinking about her early demise or anything like that. And so these things, he was speaking from extra projections. He was speaking from another realm, from the fourth realm. Agreement will be signed from August that will project Ghana in the next year. So according to this prophet, he's saying that he saw that Ghana will be placed in a certain position that will attract investors. Ghana will be in a state that everybody will be willing, like the nation will be attractive. But it will start from August. It will start from August, where some deals and some negotiations would have to be done. But the whole thing is that this year, 2025, August, if those deals are signed, it doesn't mean that we are going to see glimpses of hope within this year. It means that everything that is in that contract or every hope that we are supposed to get, we are going to see it in 2026.
by the grace of God, certain things be adjusted in time that I am looking at. There are some fields of operation and there are some agreements that is about to be brokered. And at the end of the day, a better release Ghana in 1 year time. In this year, one or two things will be done, which is just on a normal basis. But then there is something that is about to happen that will release Ghana from next year, and that will begin to launch a very different angle, which has to do with a lot of financial income, and then infrastructures will begin to develop. Different things will be popping out, which is very, very unique in the structure of the country. So obviously, there are some things that are about to happen now as I speak to you from August that is going to change the face of the country next year.
Take form being there a release or minus
agreements be because some contracts agreements which has to do with certain investments in the country.
Our sector being
in all the sectors, from building and establishment of the military, things that has to do with the police system, so many things. The best we know a flash of opening. It will begin. That's going to be the most important key principle that will save the face of the NDC people. What I say?
Okay. And no, a divine and I say a omanpenino shishena.
Divine orchestration, yeah, bro, papa.
Okay. And dear, Mumba home pie say, ain't no.
That's what is in time. We work and merge time, so that's what is going to happen within the timeline.
He also talked about the fact that within the space of 2 years, so after the 2 years, let me say it that way. So after the 2 years in his administration, Ghana will begin to see some infrastructures. In fact, some level of massive infrastructure development that the nation has never seen before. This wouldn't be our regular interchanges and stuff. It will be like international standard development. And according to him, that will be the breeding ground for Ghanaians, like the success story, that is where he's going to start from.
Go forward with regards to the economy. Economy goes downside, but one thing I always say is be patient. Be patient.
Okay.
Because once the economy goes downside, we need to be patient. Once you have the patience, within the 2 years interval, there will be an elevation. Once the elevation starts, me who say you starting developments, and I'm not talking about Greater Accra development. I'm talking about nationwide development.
Okay.
Infrastructure, hospitals, different kinds of setup. 3rd year in office, all those things will begin to happen, and it will begin to happen very fast, and it looks so impossible. They'll begin to build things that are so mega beyond your wildest imagination, and it was so amazing. I'm looking at it in time, and it is happening, and it was so unique.
I see. Okay, say close to, if I said 2027, I got 2028,
Yes.
I am on penny 3rd year, construction near the development because so suddenly there a normal with government or seeking for re-election at the end my way development way are unique and so different from other ones now are witnessing.
Because it will be very different. It will be very, very, very different. Roads, bridges, very different. International standard, not normal, ordinary things. They are very different. Once you see it coming, this one is not the ordinary NDC MPP kind of development. This is different story. Very unique, very special, very different. And it affected the whole country from the top to the down. And then in these 4 years, the Doomsaw problem, they will change it. And they will solve a situation. I saw that they were fixing new meters because there's something that will go on in the ECG, electronic company. One will fall, one will rise. Then it will divide into 2. Electricity company right, electricity company left. 2 electricity companies running the country.
Inti say no put your man can say on be privatize no ana dear he.
I don't follow those news. Once I'm sitting there, anything I don't know.
ECG mienu.
Yes.
Nakuja. Inti ombe running is saying ani nyina ye state owned and I say obi na air running for so
it will be two sector running, like two angle of operation. I say a blend of two different companies
okay
dealing with electricity.
okay
And then you will be given the option of which one to take. And it will be two angles of electricity companies that will be running the country. That one would just solve at that is why I told you that I saw news being posted. And I give you the date.
yeah okay August be
Yes.
I think
And I
24th of August
yes.
or so.
And I told you, say, it will be stated clearly that for about 1 year and more, there was never light out. Doomsaw was never a possibility. Not doomsaw. If it was a virus, it has been killed.
So after 2027, that's the nation is going to see massive developments. Right from there, he said that there will be a problem. So from the 2027 to the 2028, there will be a problem. But he also made mention of the breaking the 8, saying that although at the point that he was speaking, the slogan was for NPP. He said that LPP, there is no way they are going to break the 8. And even if there was some party or there is a party that is capable of breaking any 8 in the, in our political discourse or in our political grounds, that party would have to be NDC.
You can break the 8, break the 8, break the 8. Only NDC party will break the 8.
Hey, really?
Yes.
Eti afi way obian to mean breaking 8.
No.
Breaking the 8 no will be around 2030 and no 2032 because you're 2024. Next 4 years nearby 2028 and after 2032.
Absolutely. Omupe number breaking 8. And in the breaking of the 8, that is when the young tree will bring all of them down. Because after the 4 years, another 4 years during that election, the next 8 breaking and your breaking 8 now there will be some inefficiencies be our atmosphere. And that inefficiency will give the strength to the young party.
Okay.
One singular young party. At the NDC, MPP for now, say bye.
Yes, so that is the prophetic, so we are still in a timeline. We are still in a timeline from 2024, from 2025. So we are still in a timeline from 2025 and we are heading to 2032. Now, at this point, he is saying that in 2027, the appointees that we are currently seeing under the auspices of, John Dramani Mahama, under the administration of John Dramani Mahama, no, it is this same appointees, some of them will turn against John Dramani Mahama.
This is where we go.
Okay.
Number one, I remember telling you, say, for the first time in the country, someone would try to assault the president directly in a very unique manner, trying to attack the president. Now, I realize in time that the situation that the decision that is going to be made by the gold and then the agriculture and what it will bring forth in November, that is how come it initiated a structure that ended up bringing such a situation towards the presidency. Now, breaking that structure down, breaking it down.
Okay.
I told you, say, with Nakuja in the interview, say, I think last year before the election, I think our last interview.
Okay.
And in that interview, we spoke about this thing, attack B, something that has to do with a funny demonstration that they want to use to destabilize the country in a very funny way. And as I was speaking, the people that were given access to that demonstration were people that were seeking opportunity for governance, and the government did not appoint them. So I remember I told you, say, a man for me, because of my position, they wouldn't get it. They would play a very funny role. So the presidency will be working, but the same people in the same government will be trying to sabotage the play of the presidency. Because one funny thing is that in 2027 to 2028, there are appointees that are sitting down on the seat of the which are appointed, obviously. And those people will be sabotaging the president because they were afraid that Mahama is going to run election in 2028. You asked me the question, I've answered you the question. Exactly. They were afraid, so they will begin to play sabotage. They will begin to play sabotage. So there's going to be a situation which is about $121 million situation that they are going to talk about. And then that has to do with the energy sector situation. Where that money will be handled in a very funny way, and it will create a lot of situation. To understand that if you don't take care, because of that, there will be situation with the electricity company of Ghana. Very, very big situation that will end up in court, a whole lot of dragging up and down. To understand, say, if you don't take care in the country, the electricity company of Ghana will be held under certain injunction, and if they will make a decision to off the country, turn off light, zoom, we are not working again. Because there is these things that are not done. Airports will be going off, ministries will be going off, independence, different sectors. They like everything. Like
sabotage.
About 2 weeks, yes.
Our energy sector.
Energy sector, yes. As a result of certain games that is being played, that is going to really extend into a very massive ground. And that is not like, it's not the appointees of the energy sector that is doing that.
Okay.
It is some people that have missed opportunity to be appointed, and then they will begin to play the sabotage. And then secondly, those that are trying to contend for 2028 election primaries, they will begin to play that gamble. Ebro almost started to play that gamble because they want to make sure that even if Mahama has a chance to say, let me go forward and declare, so I want to go for 2028, it is not possible.
When all these things happen, now the next thing that will happen is that the Speaker of Parliament, which is Right Honorable Alban Kingsford Suman Babin, Alban Babin will go for a long leave, and when he's out of Parliament or out of his duties, in this case, let's just be, let's be clear here, he wouldn't be sacked, but he will go for a long leave. Now, the person who will step in for Alban Babin, it is in that person's care that the whole country will turn to something else. According to him, and what he saw in the whole timeline, is that the majority that the NDC has in Parliament, they are going to use it, and it wouldn't be in the benefit of the country. Because at this point, some people had come up together wanting Mahama to fail and wanting the name of Mahama to be dragged in the mud in such a way that Mahama's name wouldn't even be, good for people to even suggest that he should even continue to break that AIDS.
There's a lot of things that is ongoing in the realm of the spirit.
Okay, can be clear because when the Parliament wants them that, and speak and so about Afwaso, at the end,
okay, also politicians, when they gather, there's going to be a lot of situation going on. But then, mainly, the situation I want to say about Parliament in prophecy is this. I saw, the Speaker of Parliament has gone for a long leave out of Parliament. And then someone else will replace him in Parliament, which means, not say but then someone will, represent him whilst he's gone. And then one, I don't know who that is, but there's somebody that will take over, and then they'll begin to do whatever they like. Now I'm playing time for you. It is like a movie. Take your time and observe. Now, that person will represent, one person will represent, but then they won't take his words for nothing. So they will be doing whatever they like in Parliament. They will sign certain things behind Parliament and certain agreements, yes. I was looking at the document. Can't say everything, because as how this thing happened, my interview, they went hack page, remove one video from there. So because of that, I'm cautious. Somebody can really find the time and hack your channel and take one video. It means that they can find a lot of time for you. Exactly. So then you have to be careful the things you're saying, because if you say too much, you become too dangerous.
Okay.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, that documentation will be signed behind Parliament, and then you would see it will yield a lot of confusion within Parliament where it will not go well. And at the end of the day, you will see it will take time for the Speaker of Parliament. Speaker of Parliament will come back to Parliament. When it comes to Parliament, he will address the Parliament like this. Listen to the words carefully.
Okay.
I have heard that some of you in my absence have taken the parliament into your own hands, and you are doing whatever you like with the parliament. These exact words. It is like a storyline. And when that words are said, because there will be signing of things, strange things behind his back.
And you no more signing no good for the country, and I say they sign it through dubious means.
Brutal business. That's the most I can say. Brutal business.
So in order for Mahama'S quest to end in 2027, so that another person will run the presidency from 2028, it means that they would have to do Mahama dirty. And that is what is in the timeline. Ladies and gentlemen, it is really, really sad. Now, so after all these points, so we are still in the 2027 where all these things will start happening, because at this point, some people don't want Mahama to still be in the helms of affairs. So at this point, there will be a decision Mahama would have to make, and that decision will be the downfall of Mahama. Now, what is that decision? According to what he says he saw in the spirits, or what he saw in the timeline, he saw that there were two contracts or two things placed in front of Mahama. And one has to do with the agricultural sector. And one has to do with gold bonds. And it has to do with issues with gold. Now, Mahama had to make a choice as to which path the country would have to charter. Now, according to him, Mahama, instead of choosing the agric side, Mahama chose the gold side. And that's brought about the whole doom of Mahama'S administration.
But one important thing in time that I saw two branches in that specific angle. It's two branches. The president will sit down in the office. He will have two opportunities in hand. He will choose the other one, the opposing figure. Once he chooses the opposing figure, the trend of the 2-year timeline for us to exceed into success will break. Once that timeline is broken, in 2028, it will be a different story altogether. That does not mean MPP will win the election. That's a different story altogether.
So say if you had the oba, my own kasasa na unko. See, president, there will be two major decisions I also take.
Yes.
One, there.
The first major decision is about the economies. Two things they will place before him.
Okay.
He has to choose within these two things. He has to choose whether to present the money into the agric industry, into the farming protocols, and secure that one. Or he has to present the money into gold. The president will present the money for gold in the first branch of time I am seeing. And once the money hits into that and his investment in the foundation, it will look beautiful in the beginning. The next thing you will see in news is $246 billion.
Ashe.
Into oblivion.
And what will happen after that?
Sorry. 243. Sorry. 243. 243. I want to be specific on the number. $243
billion.
Remember that number. 243. Yes. Not 6. 243. Specific.
When so the figure account says no country about me, I say 37.
Now, there is this thing that I like about this man. That is the more reason why I'm saying that this man, I don't regard him as a prophet. I regard him as a time traveler, because time travelers always try to find the whole balance and also try to find the routes. Now, this is it. Mahama would have to face two options. Now, if he decides to choose on the agric side, it means that the prophecy can be, it would take another dive. But if he decides to go by the gold, which looks as the surest way that can help the nation at the time that you would have to make that decision. And according to him, he even said when Mahama made that decision, things were okay, things were cool, until it came out in the news. The media took it upon the whole thing. It just blew out that there has been a scandal, that is a gold scandal of over $243 billion. Mind you, this has not happened. But he's saying it's in the timeline. And for somebody to be so vivid, to give you dates, give you like how accurate the thing is, give you digits, give you figures, it tells you the person knows what he's talking about. Now, so that is where he's saying that the next person that the NDC will bring, in that case, will win and also will break that 8. But in 2032 election, that is where a new force, a new party will emerge. A party that everybody is not regarding will just come, bench all the two, the NPP and then the NDC, even saying that the NPP will at a point will be split into 2 and it will even die. So that point, I'm not even going there. Now he's saying that at this point, where we are right now, when that happened, it means that Mahama can't continue. Hence, anybody that will continue will also have something, can kind of a scandal prior to the 2032 election, which is going to give some sort of a lift and will make the new party like so attractive for the youth, and everybody will embrace that party. Now, so if all of these things happen, then what is going to happen in the 2028 election? If Mahama is not going to continue, if the NDC party, if the people with appointments, if Mahama's appointees are going to turn their back against Mahama, then we are going to ask ourselves, what is going to happen in the 2028 election? Ladies and gentlemen, this is where he also said that in the timeline, there is nothing like Alan Kojo Chiramansing in the timeline. Now, he said that Alan Chiramansing in 2027 is going to join NPP back again. And together with Kennedy Akompreko Japan, they are going to be a very serious force to reckon with. But the problem is that regardless of how high and how hard they fought, they could never win in 2028.
I said, Maba.
But then notwithstanding, there's one amazing thing. Unim said in time, I saw something happening strangely in time. Said the NPP party, there is also another person that has formed another party out of the party.
Hey, we need some 4 years.
2028 election. And I was amazed. I was like, what are these people doing to the party?
As you know, the Alan, I know.
Yes. The return of Alan is in 2027.
He will come back to NPP.
Yes, they'll drag him back.
To lead the party.
But it's not going to work. That's it. News flash. The same angle in October.
And no cancer. Alan will come back in 2027.
Yes. They'll drag him back. They'll pull him everything, communication, every structure and every other thing. But then it won't work at the end of the day. It will work perfectly from the beginning. But then almost to the election again, in October, the thing will fail.
No, so it is at this juncture that he busted the people, the bubbles of the whole people. Personally, what he said, I was a bit, like, what is this man talking about? Because he said that in 2028, NPP primaries, it is Bawumia that is going to win. Bawumia is still going to be the flag bearer of the Dankwa Buza Domo tradition. And so if that is the case, then it means that, well, where would the people be? Those people and these people that are around the party. And he says that the people that are going to handle and steer the affairs of NPP party is going to be new people. He even went ahead or went further to say that when NPP lose the 2028 election, they will go ahead to lose the 2032 election, which will make Bawumia go as an independent candidate. Ladies and gentlemen.
Kenne Japan.
All right.
Ebi mo nso say Bawumia. Say no. Ebe koseng. Because who can say MPP fwe say omo hwe yi a emu be che.
Right.
Me kai say o kai. Nti say na kono sa na ebe ye. Ana say den. Who is to be the next flag bearer
of the MPP.
of the MPP.
All right. The flag bearer will be maintained.
Baumia.
Yes, will be maintained. But then at one point in time, it will be changed.
So for Nyambo today.
He will lose the first election. He will lose the second election. Then, on top of a mountain, under a tree, will thou eat a fruit. It is established.
I know you might have heard some of these things somewhere, but let me also know from you, what do you think? Do you think that the timeline from what he has narrated is true? Mind you, he said that from 2032, NDC will lose hold of power. Now, when NDC lose power, NPP by then would have been shattered. So the only party that will be left will be NDC and the new force that will emerge. And when that happened, because of the backing of the youths, NDC will also dwindle down, and the only party that will be left will be that new party that will emerge. And that is the party that is going to take Ghana to the next level. Subscribe to the channel for us, and also do well to like a video for us if you do like them. Understand? It will go a long way to help us in creating more of such content for you, getting to know that you really love them and you really like them. This is What's Up Today, and my name is Nani of Dynamic. See you in the next one. I'm out.
Public 3940 here. Guess what? You are watching Dynamic TV Plus. Keep on watching, subscribe, share, then leave your comments. One time, big love.